Welcome, curious minds. If you've been keeping an eye on India's energy scene, you'll know E20 fuel is, well, a really big deal policy-wise.
It absolutely is.
But for millions of drivers, it's also causing some real headaches on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So today, we're going to try and unpack that, where this huge national strategy meets everyday life.
Yeah, that intersection is key.
So maybe let's start there. What's the core thinking behind this big push for E20, this 20% ethanol blend?
Well, the real insight, I think, is how India is trying to flip the script.
Yeah.
Turn this massive reliance on imported oil into, well, a win on multiple fronts domestically.
Okay.
We're talking huge foreign exchange savings over 1.4 lakh crore since just 2014-15.
Wow.
And cutting CO2 emissions, too, like 736 lakh metric tons. That's like planting 30 crore trees, roughly.
That's substantial.
It is. And it brings farmers into the energy picture, turns them into Urja Datta's energy providers. They've been paid over, I think, 40,000 crore for ethanol. So it's this ambitious, kind of multi-pronged national strategy, really.
And what really jumps out is just how fast they're doing it, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The timeline was, well, incredibly aggressive.
Yeah.
That 20% target,
Yeah.
it was meant for 2030 originally.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah, then brought forward to 2025, and now, well, it's already basically nationwide, way ahead of schedule.
And the key thing for drivers, for you listening, is that all new cars since April 2023 have to be E20 compliant.
Correct.
Which means, practically speaking, your choice for lower blends like E5 or E10, it's pretty much gone.
Yeah.
E20 is the main fuel now.
That lack of choice is a big part of the story here.
Exactly. So, okay, what does this rapid sort of mandatory shift mean for you, the driver? Especially if your car isn't brand new. Official studies, from ARII, SIAM, they suggest maybe a small dip in fuel efficiency, like 1% to 6%.
Yeah, that's the official line.
But anecdotally from, well, millions of drivers, we're hearing something very different. People complaining about drops of 15, 20%, sometimes even more.
Much higher, yeah.
We heard about, like, a Volkswagen Vento owner seeing mileage go from maybe 11, 12 kilometer level down to just 7 or 8.
Ouch.
Yeah. I mean, if you drive every day, that's not just a little bit annoying, that's a real hit to your budget. Adds up quickly.
It really does, week after week.
So why the gap? Why this difference between the studies and what people are actually experiencing?
Well, it boils down to the ethanol itself. It has different properties than petrol. It's a solvent, for one.
Okay.
And it's also hygroscopic, meaning it absorbs moisture, it attracts water.
Right.
So in older vehicles, the ones not specifically designed for E20, this can cause problems. It can sort of corrode metal parts over time and degrade plastic and rubber bits that aren't compatible, things like your fuel line seals, gaskets.
So it's not just about burning fuel less efficiently.
No, not at all. It can lead to things like engine knocking, the car feeling jerky,
Right.
and potentially some pretty expensive repairs down the line. And you have to remember, we're talking about millions of vehicles here. India has, 30 crore vehicles? Most made before April 2023.
So most are technically non-E20 compliant.
Exactly. And they're now basically forced to use this fuel. Even some big manufacturers like Hero MotoCorp have put out warnings for their older models. They know it's an issue.
And then there's this other layer of confusion, right? The auto industry saying, oh yeah, we'll honor warranties, but then insurance seems a bit unclear, a gray area about covering ethanol damage.
It's a huge point of uncertainty for people, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you navigate that?
So if we kind of zoom out again, how does India's approach compare globally?
It really stands out. If you look at Brazil, they've been doing ethanol blends for decades, but it was a much slower transition. Over 90% of their cars are flex fuel now, and crucially, drivers there can choose between E25 or even pure E100 ethanol.
They have options.
Right. Or look at Europe. They moved to E10 quite gradually, and you can still find E5 and other fuels pretty easily. India's approach. It's very fast, it's mandatory, and it's being applied to this huge existing fleet of older cars without much choice. It's quite unique in its aggressiveness.
So given all these challenges people are facing, what are the potential solutions? How can we make this transition maybe a bit fairer for consumers?
Well, fairness really needs to be part of the equation now. We're seeing some movement, like Maruti Suzuki, looking into retrofit kits for older cars.
Very interesting. What would that involve?
Basically replacing the incompatible parts, fuel line seals, etc. The estimated cost is around, say, 4,000 to 6,000 rupees.
Okay, so not insignificant, but maybe manageable for some.
Right. But policy-wise, maybe we need to think bigger. Could we bring back some consumer choice, even if it's just lower blends at certain petrol pumps? Clearer labeling is definitely needed, making it mandatory and obvious what percentage blend you're actually getting.
Absolutely. Transparency.
And maybe financial help. Incentives or subsidies for those retrofit kits could make a big difference for many people.
Good point.
And finally, getting really clear, legally solid assurances on warranties and how insurance will handle any ethanol-related issues, that peace of mind is crucial.
Yeah, definitely. So this deep dive really highlights attention, doesn't it? E20 is clearly important for India's big strategic aims.
No doubt about that. Vital even.
But the way it's being rolled out, so fast and without much choice, it's creating a real tangible burden for a lot of ordinary citizens.
It really is.
Yeah.
And that brings us, I suppose, to the critical question, the thing to really think about.
Yeah.
How does a country balance these massive, important national benefits, energy security, climate goals, farmer income, with the actual well-being and the financial reality of its individual citizens, especially during such a rapid mandatory change like this?
That's definitely something to ponder, a tough balancing act.